Bobert fans, clearly the next stage in human evolution. Do not fight it! And as you would expect, this affects many aspects of our day-to-day lives. We achieve better in education on average. I believe 1 in 7 Bobert fans turns out to actually be the reincarnation of the previous generation's messiah. That's a fun one. And in certain regions of Europe and Malaysia, we are granted complete and total amnesty on one murder. So, you know, some very real perks to being part of this elite group. Now, listen, I know getting 1 free murder on the house sounds great, so I'm sure all of you not already inducted into the Brotherhood of Bob will be very eager to join. However, it's not quite as simple as you might expect, which is why I'm here, because as I'm sure you're all aware, I am the #1 Bobert fan, and well, that kind of places me a few steps ahead of you all on the living tier list. But I figured what Bobby would want me to do is to help all of you ascend to somewhere a bit closer to my level. So here on the 11th anniversary of the Metallic Main Man, I am going to give you the top 11 ways, because, you know, theming, you can become a better Bobert fan and, by extension, a better person. So, with all of that out of the way,
here we go! Number 11.
Alright, let's get the easiest one out of the way first. Go into your mother's purse. Inside you'll find a little card, alright? In the comments below, I need you to input the number on the front, the 3 numbers on the back, and then also the expiry date and the next is pretty much common sense, but for the sake of clarity, I'll say it anyways. Bobert appeared in 76 episodes of The Amazing World of Gumball, and he had new scenes in 3 of the Gumball clip show specials. Well, I say new scenes. Really, they just reused old footage of Bobert from previous episodes, and changed some of the 2D elements and the dialogue to fit the new context. But either way, to get a full view of the Bobster, you're going to have to work your way through all of these. Try picking up some of Bobert's hobbies, because, trust me, if they're good enough for him, they are definitely more than good enough for you. Cooking is the obvious one. It's a pretty big one for him in multiple mediums, and it's pretty easy to explain and accessible to get into, especially with the internet. But I understand that might not be in everybody's wheelhouse. So, if that one's not for you, you might want to start a bit smaller with, I don't know, something like the total eradication of the human race. Notice the difference between this clip from the show proper.
Hey, Bobert, what you doing?
I'm on the internet, the largest source of knowledge in the world. Why don't you get connected?
And this one from one of the Gumball clip show specials.
Hey, Bobert, what you doing?
I'm on the internet, the largest source of knowledge in the world. Why don't you get connected?
And if both of these scenes seem to be the exact same clip to you,
Get the f*** out of my house.
Music is the window into the soul, and to truly understand someone, learning what music they listen to can be a great help. I mean, look at me, I rely on deranged, repetitive humor that no one thinks is particularly funny to get people to notice me, and I'm gradually slipping into insanity. What would you think my favorite song is?
Doing your mom?
What? No. It's Yeah Jimmy's Head theme, but I can see where you're coming from. So listening to his favourite song might help you get fully immersed in the mind of Bobert. Now, Bobert's music tastes aren't really shown in the show or any tie-in media at all, so you might think that this is a pointless exercise, but as his #1 fan, I feel like I've got enough insight into his personality that I could make an educated guess that you should take and treat as 100% factual. And the guess I would put my money on is the Tally Hall song, Hymn for a Scarecrow. The song focuses on a sapient, non-organic life form being unable to connect with people and thus leading to self-loathing, whilst everyone else within the song refuses to treat them like a normal person and consistently question their sapience. Now, you might say that just finding a song that happens to have similar themes to the ones that a lot of Bobert-related media deals with is kind of a stretch and wouldn't automatically make that Bobert's favourite song, and just this entire point is kind of irrelevant. But no, I've got Bobert right here. I'll ask him, then you'll see. Do you completely and totally agree with every word I said, even though you didn't hear a single one of them?
Affirmative.
You heard it here first, people. Yeah, try to bunk that, globe heads. Bring-a-ding-ding to a capitalism. As you know, you only have worth based off the things that you own. So, you better own that Bobby drip. And it doesn't stop there, of course. Any piece of cheap plastic tat with the brand that you like slapped on it is always worth the the £61 plus tax. I mean, could you live without Spider-Man's iconic bump and go Mudbuster? Yeah, I thought not. So, listen to me, buy say, I don't know, a dozen of the Bobert Happy Meal toys as a start, then I feel like you have to pick up at least a DVD or two with him on them. While you're at it, a book wouldn't hurt at all. And I feel most pressingly of all of these, you have got to pick up the Gumball graphic novel Recipe for Disaster from 2017, because it is the only piece of official written media that features Bobert in a central role. So that makes it so this is the only piece of written literature that has any value. Well, I say the only piece. Really, it's the only piece that we are allowed to acknowledge. The film Fight Club. Use it as your guide. Now, it's time to spread the good word. Bob post on all of your social media. Hell, make new social medias to Bob post on. I mean, MySpace still exists for some fucking reason. Use that. If you really want to go above and beyond and, you know, have a chance of getting into heaven, try Bob posting publicly as well. Alright, so we're getting near the end here, so this one's going to take a little bit more effort on your part, but I'm sure with just a little bit of perseverance, everyone listening will be able to do this. Bobert is shown to deeply value the few interpersonal interactions he is lucky enough to have, and is willing to go to extreme lengths to try and keep that. And there's really only one way you could experience and thus understand how much these interactions mean to Bobert, and that's why our number 9 here is forsake all friends and other loved ones. I mean, look at how consistently and how seriously he is willing to change fundamental aspects of himself, just so some people are willing to incorporate him into their lives. Hell, do you see how much this hug means to Bobbyton? He is unwilling to let go until he is explicitly told to, and even then he tries to bargain for it to last
Just a little longer.
because he values that small sign of affection so much. So to truly be like Bob, you need to shelter yourself from all forms of interpersonal interaction, emotional connection, or, well, really any form of affection for the next 11 years. Because then, when that sweet 12th year rolls around, you will value it just as much as Bobert. Sure, you might be a bit hesitant to throw away all of your loved ones for the sake of a fictional cartoon robot, but it's the only way, so just suck it up and do it, or you'll never ascend, you little inbred piece of fuck it! Okay, so, if you're still with us, this far in, you now have, thanks to the last one, a lot of newfound free time that, I mean, at this point you're going to want to entirely devote to the Bobster, I assume. And the obvious way to do that is through some form of Bob-related artistic expression. Of course, the problem with that is that even with all the free time afforded to you by going cold turkey on human interaction and money, as I have suggested, is still you are only one person with finite time to do things. So you're never going to be able to master every form of making Bob-related art. I mean, how? If you're exceptionally mediocre and disposable as a human being, I mean, you probably won't even be able to master one. But it's fine. It's fine because being good at one skill is an ineffectual way to appreciate the majesty of the Bobster. So, if you want my opinion, I'd say don't bother. just try to become mediocre at a whole variety of them. Pick up sewing or sculpting or something on its own and dedicate yourself to trying really hard to get that one thing perfect. And when it's done and it sucks, you just move on to the next one. Because, I mean, yeah, sure, you could put in the time and effort and cultivate this skill and become as good as some other people are just naturally. But the truth is, you don't find any joy in doing this skill, and you didn't in the last one you tried either. And in all likelihood, you're not going to for the next one you try. Because the truth is, no art form and no hobby could ever make you happy. But you can never just stop doing this. Because if you did, then you'd all of a sudden have a lot of new free time open, where the only thing you could do is think about the state of your life, which, dear God, anything but that. So instead, make all of these fun Bobber arts and crafts projects. I mean, sure, maybe you could dedicate your time to developing one of these skills and, you know, grow an actual passion and love for a specific art form that will make you an interesting person. But do you see how malformed this bob head you sculpted is? Hell, look at the lines on this Bobbert's head, they don't even match up. Why would you ever think you're good enough to take any of these skills seriously? So just give up now, you fucking loser. Okay, so, you might quite fairly, I feel, have some reservations about going through with, the last point I just mentioned, but, the way I see it, one of us owns a sealed Spider-Man 3 Bump and Go Mudbuster, and one of us doesn't. So, I would say, just trust me on this one, and, let's move on to the last point, shall we? Construct a rudimentary pipe bomb.
Maybe I'll feel better when I go to bed. Maybe, but probably not. Maybe I'll feel better if I clear my head. Maybe, but probably I wrote a joke. You wanna hear it?
I have feelings. I am a real boy.